Hey, 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 welcome back. Welcome back to the Scorpio channel. My name is Laura, if you're new to my channel, and I'm going to do a general message for Scorpio. So know that energy is fluid, roles could be reversed. Just interpret the message as it best resonates with you. Know on this channel, I like to dive deep within the reading. So I look at everything, but we take a lot more time to look at the spiritual blockages, the shadows, and see how they play out as karmic themes to help you understand why your person's doing what they're doing. Really important when you're dealing with a person that wears masks, creates illusions and personas to try to make you think and feel a certain way. And when you're connected to somebody that, there's a spiritual connection, there's a lot of emotion. And so sometimes those emotions cloud our perceptions. So again, our karma is created from our actions. So if your perceptions are imbalanced, well, then you're going to manifest imbalanced experiences, right? Because everything that happens in the spiritual realm happens in the physical realm eventually. So we want to heal the spiritual realm, which, by the way, is the psychological and the emotional level. See, we're only in physical form to learn and to manifest. We're supposed to be learning that there is no separation from us and our creator through the energy of love, through the energy of unconditional love, really. I mean, we all have our perceptions of what we perceive love should be, which also distorts connections, right? Again, because then we perceive that people should be acting a certain way when really unconditional love, there is no ownership, there is no expectation. Really difficult when, again, you grow up in environments that you didn't get, right? If you didn't get that emotional support, and then you continue to attract people that emotionally can't give to you, the perception is over time that you can't have that. But really, we can have anything we want, again, because God made us in its image. So, why the separation? Well, within the reading, we're going to find out. Again, we're going to find out today how these situations are changing our perceptions and what we need to do to shape shift the energy to quantum jump into the reality that we want because we all are the alchemists of our life. That's why, it's important to heal. All right. Because if you don't heal, you might listen to the wrong person, right? And when you listen to the wrong people in life, they are they're going to do what's best for them. They're not going to do what's best for you. All right. Now, anything of any importance or relevance to the channel you can find in the description box. I know I've been saying that Vidme is going to open. Vidme is opening. It's just they keep making it better and better. And I'm not lying about it. The platform's a monster. They're really changing the way that social media works. So at the end of the month, it really is launching. It's just they're making it so that inside of all our channels, there's going to be, links and paywalls to be able to go to any of our websites, any of our classes, our merchandise. It's better than a Mind Valley. This is a combination between Mind Valley, YouTube, and Netflix. There's opportunity to make money. So if you're someone that needs a job, and you like to learn, well, this would be something for you. The link is in the description box. Again, my group coaching program, and my Transforming Trauma podcast. You'll be able to get those by purchasing a $35 a month membership, but you also get hundreds of other content creators, classes, and like I said, an opportunity to make money. So that link is in the description box along with website. Yes, I am open for readings. All right, let's see what the underlying energy is. Oh, thank you for all your likes, shares, subscribes. Keep those comments coming. Look at this perfectionism. Perfectionism is the underlying energy. Now, again, perfectionism is actually a bad thing. And you know why? because it'll overstimulate you. There is no such thing as perfect. We shoot for excellence. And excellence happens when you're in the gift of silence. There's an unfoldment process between you and your creator. Understand? When a student is ready, the teacher appears, that the universe brings you the people, the situations, and the experiences that help us to really like step into our true path. Everything happens in divine time. When we perceive that things need to look a certain way, to be a certain way, well, again, that's when we are not comfortable in our own unique individuality. It means that, again, a lot of times that we think that we're flawed. So I feel like the underlying energy is that you're either attracted to someone who has this problem, or you have this problem, or you both have this problem. And you may have it within business. This person has it within relationship, is what spirit is saying. So the underlying energy is perfectionism. So within is without. So whatever is going on internally, which is like you may be saying, I love my job, but I feel like I'm a little stuck. Or I used to like my job and I no longer like my job. Or again, that there needs to be, again, that you need to control something. And see, when we begin to think that we need to control things, then again, what happens in the outer world begins to mirror that. So then we deal with people that are like imbalanced. And again, because you're perceiving you're imbalanced. So whatever the perception, whatever the fear is. So again, there's many different realities that play out at one time. How you deal with the situation is going to be your karma. Now, I think for this person, they again, they know that they screwed up. There's a sense of they really care about their image. And so they don't want to seem as if they're weak. They don't want to seem as flawed. This situation between you and them, I feel like is making them feel flawed. And it's mainly because of how you reacted to something. So it's again, the underlining energy is perfectionism, which by the way means that the ego, this person's mainly in their ego. Because again, when we're in the energy of love, we're just doing what we love and we don't care about what other people perceive who we are. Again, so it's that. And the reason why is because this person already feels that they're a disappointment to you. And I feel like they have anxiety. And so that anxiety is playing out as anger. And so they'll look as if they're actually angry with you when really they actually have a lot of anxiety. Now let's see why they have anxiety. Now, well, first card out is nostalgia. So this person is thinking about, what your relationship was. And I feel like for whatever reason, when they were in the relationship with you, they got triggered a lot. But let's see, again, I feel like this person tended to treat you almost like an enemy sometimes. It's like because they had a lot of anger issues. So if you confronted them about their behavior, they didn't want to work through anything. They, again, got more triggered and got more angry. And it's because they have a lot of anger issues. So the anger issues comes from feeling inadequate, feels feels like that there's something wrong. So again, whenever a person feels the need to be perfect, it's because they have shame. They feel like there's something wrong. They feel like they're really flawed. So this person created a lot of illusions. And when a person lives in illusions for long periods of time, they actually begin to live in a dream world. It's not real, it's not grounded. So again, this person winds up creating their own hell because they're not in the present moment. And so the thing is then this person, their own thoughts are what is controlling their entire narrative of their life. So that's what happens when a person has spiritual blockages and they escape those blockages because they don't want to feel, they don't want to see, they don't want to change because there's fear of change. So again, what you're seeing is the underlying energy of perfection, the person creates illusions. And so, are they aware of what they do? No. This is a coping mechanism. It's, again, they're not aware. But then you're going to see a lot of really negative behavior. It's, again, the person's coming more from a survival mode. So there is always this anxiety because the person feels inadequate. Again, why does a person need to feel like they're perfect? And how they come in, that overthinking is going to be very overstimulating for a person that has spiritual blockages. And what you felt like, it's like they lied a lot. And you felt like you had also been living a lie the whole time. It's like because you never really knew who this person was. Well, guess what? This person doesn't really know who they are. Because they don't like really who they are. That's why the need to create illusions, that's the need to create like perfect. But again, there's not a one size fits all. No one can create something that every single person's going to love. It's just impossible. It's that we shoot for excellence. And that excellence, is going to resonate with certain people. And it's going to be a magnet to those people that want what you need. The perception of, I need to be this way or I need to be that way is what winds up taking us further away from who we are. So understand this person would definitely not be able to be in a relationship because they're creating illusions, and eventually you're going to see that it's an illusion, that it's not real. Real is when there's a real intimate connection, a true bond, a deep, deep bond. But the thing is, it's like you felt like your life was like upside down. And actually, after a while, a way without a way to straighten it out because it was, just an endless cycle of the same thing. And that's because the person could never really get close to you, but then they would want to get close to you. So the coming in and out, there was a lot of emotional manipulation. There was a lot of again, lies. So you can't be in a relationship with someone that makes lies, again, because of their illusions. Like the illusion is what this person wants you to perceive that they are and understand. Part of them believes that themselves because they're not grounded. They're living in fantasy world. And you say, how does that happen? It happens from disassociation, it happens from detachment, and it happens from too many times living the same karmic theme where that's the life that they've created, which is shame, shame, shame. And that's what happens when a person feels that they need to be perfect. They overcompensate and it doesn't feel good. There's a change in the body. There's again, so this person is gonna act overcompensate in the act that they're more superior. And in that, you're going to feel like they don't really care. So again, that you're forgotten about, like, you felt invisible, like you didn't matter, which understand this person would need for you to feel that way in order for them to, feel content and safe in the relationship. They elevate who they are. And they do that by emotionally manipulating, by not being transparent, by not creating that bond. And so again, you're always going to feel excluded. And that person will do that. They're going to go out of their way for people that they don't know or like acquaintances. And they're going to make you feel as if, you're not really that important. And see, the more the person feels, the less they're going to show. Because again, they have their own intimacy issues. And those intimacy issues, again, happen because they feel the need to make themselves something that they're not because of their inadequacy, because they feel like there's something wrong with them. And until the person actually heals it, they're going to stay in karmic cycle. And that karmic cycle is like where you're going to feel that they're always like looking for outside things, and those outside things are going to be people or drugs or alcohol or overworking, something to fill themselves because again, no one can walk around feeling inadequate, feeling the need to be perfect, creating so many facades and illusions, and really never having that emotional like connection. People think that they can, and they try to live that way when they get hurt, but it's essentially impossible because it would make us feel like we don't have energy. Being all blocked up makes us feel that way. This person being up in their mind and unaware because they're in dreamland, well, understand it doesn't feel good in the body. That mind and that spirit are still going. They're just not paying attention. They're just not paying attention to what is happening. They go for outside things to fill them because there's actual chemical changes in the body. And that's, when we're in survival mode, our energy feels drained over time. And to boost one's like energy and to get a little serotonin, hit, it's like this person's going to cheat. They're going to do something. They're going to do something outside of themselves to get that energy. So, again, the only way that this person really would feel content being in any relationship is to be in a really codependent relationship because there's a feeling of lack. And that lack will also come out obviously in their finances, where there's a sense of there's not enough. Well, if this person doesn't like who they are and they're creating illusions to make you perceive that they're perfect, well, there's really nothing there. It's like the Wizard of Oz. Like when you pull back the curtain, you're like, whoa, it's a bald man that's pulling strings. It's like this isn't the great Oz, the overcompensation. Imagine how that man behind that curtain probably felt about his self-esteem. And then when he got exposed, well, the shame. In order to counteract that shame, he again, was like, you don't need anything outside of you. That was a lesson that that man needed to learn that was pulling strings behind the curtain. Didn't need to do all that. He just needed to be his true self and share that message, but here it was, it was about the journey. It was about persevering, right? I mean, and it's the same thing when we find our true self, but this person's robbing themselves. So it's not that they don't have feelings, but you're going to see is very low vibrational energy. And again, fear of change, and that people try to create safety and stability through controlling their environment, controlling the perception of other people, so it keeps them stuck in their narrative. But that's not reality. Again, that takes us further away from who we are, making us feel that we need to be more perfect. And the illusion because there's self-hatred. And that is what I call spiritual disease, self-hatred. It's again because that's why people do the things that they do that are outside of themselves. So let's look at we're gonna pull like four cards from this deck and let's see what they are. Lover's disguise. You need to go beyond superficial looks and see who they truly really are. So again, that's what Spirit has been saying. Like this, you haven't been dealing with the person that you think that you've been dealing with. I mean, from the outside. But this person is feels extremely flawed. And Spirit says it's needing time to take time out to be on your own for a while. And so Spirit saying, being connected to someone that pretends that they're someone that they're not. You really have to take time to like investigate what did you love about this person? Was it the illusion of who they are? Was it, I mean, because they didn't give. And being that they didn't give, you had to have stayed stuck. And so when you're stuck on something that's not giving, there's a sense that you're not 100% grounded. And so you need to again find yourself. And that's again, it's a lone path. You need to just be with yourself. Have a love affair with yourself and let the deity inside of you lead you to, again, other people and situations and experiences that are going to help you cut that psychic cord. Because again, that this person wasn't really who they claimed to be. I mean, and that in order for you to really find out what you want, and also to reflect on why did I attract this person into my life? Am I used to emotionally not getting? So that's what I assume that will come in my life. And Spirit says, I feel like it's about you again finding yourself because this person has created so many barriers from the past that they're always going to block themselves because they're protecting themselves. So the relationship would never really grow until they heal. And that's the thing. And so they'll stay in the bad behavior, is what Spirit's saying. And bad behavior of cheating and the family patterns that they inherited from their parents. So that could be codependency, addictions, ancestral karma. We don't judge, but because understand people were born into societies and families, and they do the best that they can. Obviously, people would want to create happiness and experience love. It's the fact that they don't believe that they are deserving of love. And if you're born into environments that program you that due to wars and segregation and oppression and all the other horrible things that happen to people, it's that. So needing to break the family chain, again, adultery, cheating, the way that, again, parents dealt, avoidance. Like the problem never healed itself. So what happens is there's love, but over time, that love becomes very toxic because there's no healing. And so cheating is adultery, and there's love combined with pain, abandonment, and, just not satisfied being brought up in an environment where you're programmed like that. That's a relationship. We have to break that karmic cycle. That'll happen a lot of times if the person's not balanced in who they are, and a person tends to not be balanced when they're extremely addictive ridden, and that's somebody that's going to be very impulsive. It's not that the person woke up that morning and said, today I feel like doing a lot of drugs and hooking up. And no, it's more like the person's going about their day and they feel like crap. They have no energy and their mind is going, and they get triggered by, again, meeting a person, and that person makes them feel good for a second, and they go into that fantasy world of again, this love affair, but it's not real. And so in order to have that, they have to create illusions of what they want that person to perceive that they are. But there's nothing to the relationship because it's not built on anything, because it's impulsive. It's not, it's again, it's more or less that trauma is acting out. And so the person's not aware what they do when they're doing it. It's again, and that's what the problem is. And you're always going to see risky behavior because again that risky behavior that gives you a shoot of epinephrine, that's energy. You get a serotonin rush. It's like wow, it's escapism. And then you're like, when you're connected to someone like that, it's because they psychologically and emotionally have been out of balance for a really long time. And it sounds like, again, they inherited that. The trauma that they grew up with has continued to play out throughout their life. they where they stay in karmic cycles, and these karmic cycles keep them stuck in a perception of who they are, and it's again it's made up. It's not grounded. So you'll see the person will be able to live it, but then they lose it. They live it, they lose it. Their life looks like a roller coaster where it's like it's good and then it's not good. It's like cycles and cycles of sabotage made because of perfection. Like the person needs to see that they're, again, make you feel that they're, good enough because they feel flawed, but their perfectionism, like there is a sense that obviously it's not real. And you being close to you, you would feel that. You would see that. And so that's also the fear why this person can't be transparent to you. It's not because of any other reason. It's like because you can say, well, why did I feel then a connection that this person had feelings for me? Well, understand healing. People, people that don't feel that they're deserving of love, and a person that has that much shame that like is going to be that way. However, it doesn't mean that there's not a spirit part of self that loves, that says again, well, that lied and said, well, I think that I can be with you. It's like where they're like, I think the world of you, where this person really feels like, you know, um, that and that they can, and that what part of them at one time could see themselves with you in the future. But the problem is down deep inside, they feel like they're not good enough. And finances are a problem. Again, the person feels like they don't have enough to even come in with, and money has no energy. But that lack, and they also feel like they ruined everything. So this person does like kind of stalk you, and I feel like that's really what it is. It's like this person, as long as they don't heal, there will always be secrets and deception because they need to heal. But down deep inside, there would, again, this person would love to start over, but they know that they abandon people to make themselves feel more important. So instead, what do? They stay stuck, detached and reminiscing. And so you say, well, then why can't they apologize? Well, this person is actually so sorry. However, it's again, apologizing shows vulnerability, and that goes against wanting to seem perfect. Again, when needing to seem perfect, it means that they're not flawed. Apologizing is, again, there's something wrong with me. But so this person would rather stay detached and have sexual fantasies about you, and that's the problem because that they'll never really know. You won't be able to reject them. You won't be able to reject them. It just will stay in this energy. And so it's, again, it has nothing to do with you. However, you attracted this person into your life, and Spirit said, well, if you've been trying to act perfect, even within your job, maybe you're confident within your friendships, but maybe again, there is something in your life that you feel the need to control because you don't like the way that it looks. And Spirit says, you know that you're not supposed to control. You have to surrender and go with the flow and of life. And you might say, I don't really like what my life looks like, so I'm trying to control. And the Spirit says, this isn't about not showing up for yourself. This is about what you're doing that's sabotaging you. So if you're doing something to like make your life better, obviously not. But we look to see what the triggers are to actually know what the behaviorisms are, because obviously no one would volunteer to sabotage themselves. But is you're a mirror of who and what comes into your life. And if perfectionism is that, then there's a sense that you feel flawed. And so you might be judging your process. And so it's very triggering, you know what I'm saying? So part of it is again, yeah, you're frustrated, again, the frustration because of suppression. Um, Lies and secrecy, play, crafts and creativity, confusion, and shame. I knew it. I knew it. I knew shame was gonna come out. I knew it. Okay, so Spirit says, well, shame again creates the perception of needing to be perfect. There is no perfect. Again, we shoot for excellence. But the confusion, and the confusion is because, again, someone in your family was suppressing you. Again, so it was frustrating. And it was extremely frustrating because it's like this parent's supposed to nurture and love. And instead, what they're doing is they were lying. They were lying. Again, creating lies and secrets and really where you felt like you couldn't be your true self. You felt like it didn't feel safe. This parent shamed you. This person made you feel inadequate, made you feel like you weren't enough. So they suppressed you psychologically and emotionally. And so again, you didn't really go out and play. You didn't invest enough in yourself. It's not that you weren't good at anything. You have a very strong creative mind, intuitive mind. But again, if we grow up in a house that's extremely academic, it's not going to praise those creative aspects of you. It's not going to, say, hey, be your true self. That sometimes people succeed through going to school and getting educated, and other people, it's again through mastering their life, through becoming themselves. So again, to the approach to life, the approach to just anything. Like people tend to perceive you as if, well, there's something wrong, where really it's not. That's the suppression, when people perceive that you should be a certain way. So you could have went to school and not done well in school, or might have been married and the marriage didn't work out, or whatever it is that you put your energy to, and then it was like, oh, it didn't work out, or you were judged through that experience. But that's not who you are, Spirit's saying. You know, you are you're not your shame. You're not your experience. That just suppresses you. It's again to try to be perfect is to become something that you're not. It just creates frustration because you'll never get to where you need to be. And you would get confused because then logically and analytically you're trying to figure it out. And then you're not going to be able to figure it out because your mind is just going to say, you know what? There is no answer. It's because there's something wrong with us. And then we begin to live from that limited perception instead of escaping through our creativity, the way that we think can be creative. When we get into problems, how can we, deal with that issue differently? How can we deal with that experience differently? We could do it creatively, and creatively could be, you know, humorously. It can be through your own unique identity and individuality. And so we don't really know who we are, though, if we don't go out and play. When I say play, it's like we go out and we find ourselves, that there's a whole world out there, which when we're children, that's why children that are go out and they play and they connect with, people, and they find themselves and they find something that they're good at. So little boys that wind up, playing basketball or softball, they lose themselves and they retire. Some of them even get scholarships to school that pay their way, and some of them even go on to be professionals. So again, if we're feeding something when we're young, and the mustard seed, that's how it starts. But if we're feeding it with our energy, our time, our energy, and we're becoming what we want to see in the world. We are no longer shame. But when we let other people come into our life to make us feel inadequate or like there's something wrong with us, well, then again, we're actually taking on that person's shame. That person feels a lack. They feel like there's not enough. They feel like they're not good enough. Where really it's again, everybody has their own path and everybody has their unique individuality, and people come into our lives to show us different perceptions of ourself and the world, to help us evolve again, to restore our energy back to its original energy of unconditional love. But if we get caught up in what the person does, and then we are begin to live from their perception. And that's one of shame, wants you to be shamed. Shame is something that again is handed down ancestral, and in this story, that's what it was with this person that you're connected to. Again, that you're connected to someone that has that, but what's the whole point? It's because you have it too. Is that really, again, we're mirrors of whom will come into our life. So, again, what can you do to transmute the negative energy? Obviously, we wouldn't be with this person because, again, the cheating and the behaviorisms that obviously need to be healed. It's not that the person doesn't care. And it's not that there's not a soul connection, there is. But they would be classified under past life karmic mate that would, being with them would definitely affect your your manifesting, what you want to create for your life. So again, Spirit says, well, first and foremost, it's transformation. You had to be in certain experiences to awaken those certain wounds so that you can actually transform them. And we do that by turning the fear into fire, right? We turn the adversity into strength. And Spirit says, and then it's also about nurturing the light within you to guide you in the dark times. So that's again, healing is an inside job. So whatever is inside of you that brings you joy, that brings you happiness, where you choose to put your time, your energy, your focus, and your money, that is something that is going to continue to feed you. So surround yourself with positive people. The hobbies and interests that you have, continue to feed them. Those will again grow, and a path will be made where there is no way. That's how the universe works, because the universe listens to again your feeling, your emotions, and it listens to, and it watches. So it watches what you do, and it definitely listens to the emotions. So Spirit says you want to become what you want to see within the world, and that's by nurturing the light within inside of you. And the light is the things that again are going to make you in the energy of love, unconditional love, passion. That passion grows, and that's also to know that you're an empowered soul. Like, acknowledge what you have already overcome and know that you're not the same person who you once were. That perception due to that experience or those experiences were all help to shape you. But that's not who you are. We're not our experiences. What we are is the energy of love. There is no separation. But when we again grow up in an environment that makes us feel inadequate, makes us feel like there's something wrong with us, then there's this perception that we have to create, perfectionism, because we feel inadequate, flawed, like no one's going to love us. But we are love. And so when we grow that love inside of us, we're able to attract more that's going to feed us. And that's what Spirit was saying. And so we end off with one more message. for you, and that is to now take positive action. See, again, you gotta ground it. That's the full embodiment of the new consciousness to be able to see yourself different. It needs to be in alignment with God's laws. Again, the energy of love. And so Spirit says, focus on the beauty in you. And that's the spirit part of self, and find silence. Live and honor the present by doing what you can do now. Only in the now do you get divine guidance. Through gut, intuition, inner knowing. That's how you see support in your life. What you cannot change, you let go and you entrust to God. And that's hard, but we have to surrender to what is so we can go with the flow of life, because strength and everything that's good comes from within. And that Spirit says it's the illusion that we have to create things outside of ourselves, that we need something outside of ourselves. We don't. We need to become ourselves. And we all have a spiritual path. We're down here to remember what it is. I'm going to leave that there. You let me know how you resonated with this one. I love you guys. Bye.